So, good morning, friends. We are in the fourth day of the program, and this morning we have Professor Rishpal sir. He has been traveling almost 3.5 hours from Gurgaon, Haryana to reach Aligarh. Our gratitude, sir. Sir, we have covered paradigms of social research in social sciences and multiple methods. Two sessions were covered by Professor Girishwar Mishra from Delhi University and ex-Vice Chancellor of Mahatma Gandhi Antarashtriya Hindi Vishwavidyalaya. Then there was a next session, how to select the research idea and steps to conduct research. Professor Nizamuddin from AMU. Then the day second, this session was supposed to be taken care of by Professor Braj Bhushan from IIT Kanpur. Because of some serious issues in the family, he could not attend the program. Then we were having a local resource person. He was able to take care of the topic which is really very close to my heart, development and standardization of the test. The next session we were having this Aqil Ahmad Saab, Professor and Chairperson of the Department of Statistics, AMU Aligarh. He discussed about hypothesis testing and choosing appropriate tests, appropriate parametric and non-parametric tests. Third day, we were having a Professor Rajiv Pandey. He was the head of the department and a very good friend of mine from Lucknow University Department of Statistics. He discussed about SPSS, its overview, and analysis, descriptive and inferential using the dummy data. And then last session, day before yesterday, in fact yesterday it was contemporary practices in social sciences research. It was a very interesting session. In fact, he discussed about crafting and its meaning in your research. So he discussed about the designing and number of the case studies related to this domain. Friends, Professor Rishpal sir is going to discuss with you methods of non-linear regression. Sir, आप बहुत senior teacher हैं. You can modify the talk as per your need and expectations of the participants. Little bit theoretical and computational knowledge has been transferred about the correlation and simple linear regression analysis. There is a point, one more speaker is going to discuss with you in length about correlational techniques and regression. So, क्योंकि ये ऐसा knowledge है that you are going to use time and again in your research, तो उस पर और detail बात होगी. तो सर का जो है it is non-linear. You know, linearity is one of the assumption for parametric statistical test. If linearity is not verified, then which test you are going to use your data? सोशल साइंसेज में इस तरह का इश्यूज आता है. तो सर ने मेरी रिक्वेस्ट को एक्सेप्ट किया. एंड द सेकेंड सेशन सर इज गोइंग टू डिस्कस विद यू द प्रॉब्लम्स फेस्ड ड्यूरिंग रिसर्च and their remedies. Sir can decide at his end. Within few minutes, friends, Professor Rishpal is presently working as a professor, pedagogy, dean pedagogy and capacity building, dean affiliation, chief warden, chairperson, Department of Psychology and Behavioral Sciences at Shri Vishwakarma Skill University, हरियाणा. स्किल बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग बात होने वाली है. in addition to academic skills or scholastic brilliance, you need to look into the life skills also. लाइफ स्किल सिखाने के लिए ना हमारे पास वक्त है, ना हमारे पेरेंट्स के पास वक्त है. WHO has suggested as a teaching fraternity or as a academic institution, we must impart the life skills to the students as well. लेकिन वक्त नहीं है. जब लाइफ स्किल्स की बात करते हैं तो शायद हमारे टॉप मैनेजमेंट यूज टू से अरे फाइन. सो ये सारी चीज़ें सर कर रहे हैं अपने यहाँ. Unlimited achievement, more than 35 years experience in academics, administration, management, research and training and development. Sir has visited number of countries to impart the knowledge and represented the Indian industry skill delegation to Germany, Switzerland and other countries, and authored 14 plus books. I may be mistaken, sir. And a number of chapters in books, continuously imparting training, developed and published psychological test scales. मेरे आप देख सकते हैं वेव लेंथ कितनी मैच होती है. जो मेरे दिल के करीब है नॉलेज, वही सर भी उसी डायरेक्शन में बहुत ज़्यादा काम कर चुके हैं. Impaneled as a member and consultant by the state and national government for planning and development of academic institutions and other organizations. He has also been impaneled as a member of the National Institute of Differently Abled Persons, New Delhi. Unlimited achievement. He has also worked as a member of the inspection committee for the inspection of women's jail, Haryana, for 5 years. आगरा में सर हम ये काम कर रहे हैं, and one of the professor from Agra number of times has asked me कि Dr. Khan, you must look into this aspect in Aligarh. So he is one of the resource person in this program. At that day we have also planned to meet the DM and SSP to look after these needs of the Aligarh district. Sir has conducted more than 500 training programs. आप समझ सकते हैं कि अक्सर मैं ये सवाल पूछता हूँ, is it difficult to be good? बिल्कुल डिफ़िकल्ट नहीं है. 90% तो सवाल जवाब यही आता है कि सर बहुत मुश्किल है. इट इज़ नॉट डिफ़िकल्ट. वंस यू आर डिटरमिन्ड टू मेक ए डिफरेंस, यू विल बी एबल टू मेक ए डिफरेंस. जैसे सर आपके सामने खड़े हैं. थैंक यू सो मच सर. अगर मैं इसी तरह से बोलता रहा तो काफ़ी वक्त और आपका लूँगा. माई ग्रेटिट्यूड सर एंड फ्रेंड्स, आपके हवाले. एन्जॉय द क्लास. सर 1 मिनट और अलाउ करें सर. दिस टाइम टू ये वाला इधर लाओ. हाँ सर इधर आ जाइए. इसका ये लाइट सर. लोगों को जरूरत नहीं पड़ती कभी कभी फोटो की. हर दिन थोड़ी अच्छी ड्रेस पहन के आता हूँ यार तस्वीर ले. कैसे बच्चे हैं सर. थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू सो मच. आफ्टरनून में मेरा अपना HRDC इलाहाबाद यूनिवर्सिटी में सेशन है तो मैं नहीं रहूँगा. प्रोफेसर नसीम साहब रहेंगे और शाम को फिर मैं आपको ज्वाइन करूँगा. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you, Prasad. Thank you very much for giving such an elaborate introduction. Otherwise, coming to the reality, and reality is that I am student, and formally I am student in the university, and I started my career of student in the age of 4.5, and I want to be student. Reason being, if you are not student, you will not justify your discipline. Reason? The world is changing at a very fast speed, and that fast speed is not in running the vehicles, in flying in the sky, or traveling through sea. It is in technology also. Things are changing at a very fast speed, and this fast speed is because of research only. नहीं मैं वैसे ही बोल Am I audible? Right. So, research is one of the major issue to speed up the process. And that speed up the process is related to the research. And before I start my session, I want to ask, why you are attending this program? Why? And both the sessions are going to be participated. It is not only me who will interact, both ways. And wherever you feel that you have not got the concept or you are not clarified, then you can ask any question, anytime. So at the end, I will give you opportunity, as well as midway, anywhere, anything not clear to you, you can ask. So why you are attending? Why? What is the objective? Why you want to crystallize your understanding? What is basic objective? Where you want to perform better? Which discipline? This workshop is a specific workshop, right? And this workshop will support you to sharpen your edge on the research methodology only, not beyond that. So it will not touch your whole career. It will touch only the methodology, the skill to conduct the research. So why you are attending the program? To know. Why you want to know the scientific method? Why? To smoothen the, exactly that, or just for the sake of replying to me? Exactly that? Exactly that? Exactly you will participate in the research process, or you want to complete your PhD? There are two things. There are two things. Will you involve in the research conduction, or you are worried about completion of your PhD? Which one is right in your case? First one, you want to complete your PhD. Hmm. May I know what is your proposal for research? You are preparing for the synopsis, and that synopsis for PhD. Otherwise, I want to give you one example. I was interacting with the student of Amity University, Gurugram, Manesar, and these students were student of biotechnology. And one girl student, like these student or other girl student, they were part of that program. So I asked, why you are doing this course? She was so clear about her vision. She told me, sir, I am doing this PhD, this PG program from here. After completion of this program, I will join so and so University of America. I will complete my doctorate program. Then I will go to Poland, and in the Poland there is one institute which is involved in the potato breed development. I will work there for 3 or 4 years, and then I will come back, and there then I will conduct such kind of research, and I will support for so and so. That is a plan. That is a plan. So I do not know, and I do not want to know. You should know for what purpose you are attending this program. And majority of times I have seen that student or scholars, they are attending the program for the purpose of completing their research program, PhD program, and of course, right now, reason being that is one of the license specifically in India. Otherwise, I have visited rigorously throughout India, and once I was visiting through Haryana, I was conducting similar kind of program, and there I was introduced with 3 women, and they were not at all educated, but identified such kind of insects which are very helpful in increasing the yield of crop, and there are certain insects which are harmful
And that was a kind of research. So for research, you do not need any qualification. You do not need any qualification. You need your wisdom and understanding. And you need a deep dive in the subject area. Only then you can go for the research. Again, I want to emphasize, if really you want to go for research, then the research methodology will be totally different. And if you want to complete your PhD, then this domain or discipline area is different, right? So I will start with what I have planned. I have divided this complete 3 hours, given 3 hours, into 3 components. The first one is how we can select the appropriate statistics for our research program. And it is very simple. Most of the time, students keep on running here and there. How I can finalize what statistics is necessary to analyze my data and how I can collect my data. So first I will tell you which statistics is appropriate or would be appropriate for, and what are factors which will decide, without going to your guide, without going anywhere, if you want to decide what statistics would be appropriate for your research, that I will tell. And then we will discuss about non-linear, and I am not going to support you to calculate or to help you. I will help you where and how it can be used. And nowadays, how is dependent upon 2 parts. Number 1 is you can use the mathematical model, or you can take help from any digital tool. So I am not going to help you for the digital tools. I will help you in which conditions you need to use the non-linear, and then what are different models and for what purposes it can be used. Then the next session I will take up the challenges and problem of research in India, right? So starting with what is the role of statistics? Mathematics is, anyone sitting here from mathematics? Anyone? Majority of you are from social sciences, no? So mathematics is considered as language of universe. It is language of universe. It is something very, very awkward what I am talking. How mathematics can be the language of universe? Without mathematics, you cannot understand anything. You cannot. It is so deep rooted by default that sometimes we do not understand that mathematics is working in that. So similarly, without having the understanding of mathematics, research conduction is not possible. Is it correct? Am I correct? Then how? नहीं, वो तो मैं तो बताऊंगा ही, How it is not possible? What mathematics did? Why we need mathematics? Reason being, statistics is one of the model of mathematics. But nowadays, in statistics itself, whether you are using the manual model, mathematical model, or the digital model, everywhere there are different mathematical models also. Your matrix and determinants, your complete calculus, and others, they are also supporting the statistics. If you will not have, and now I am talking for them, those who are really involved in process of research. It is not for the PhD people. For the PhD people, you can go to the expert and give your data and get your things done. कोई नहीं बोलेगा आपको कि कहां से कैलकुलेट करा के लाए हैं और कब करा के लाए हैं. But in case if you are really a researcher and you do not have understanding of mathematical model, specifically the statistical model, then it would not be possible to conduct the research. क्यों? That I will tell you later. Right? So, coming back to the question, why mathematics is necessary in research?
So, maybe in my opinion, mathematics wants us to be in a pattern. When we do not have maths in our life, we both have our life.
सीधी बात करेंगे बिल्कुल. Why mathematics is important? Why it is significant? So what? You are very right. The both of you are very right. Why? So what?
Data is only a number or a word. So उससे bring
comparisons
qualities
were
because
Even quality is converted into the quantity nowadays. Can you tell me what is leadership? Do you have any scale? I can touch him and say, oh, he is 80% leader. Do you have any scale? Do you have? But we have started. What is intelligence? It is a quality. It is a quality. But already we have quantified it. And it is not quality and quantity. Mathematics, I told you, mathematics is language of the universe. So what, coming back again to the question, why it is important? We need exactness. We want to make the things certain. Two factors, exact and certain. Why exact? Okay, let me take an example. Anyone coming from the farming area among you? Anyone? Agriculture side? घर में खेती करता हो कोई? कोई भी नहीं है. चलिए, कोई बात. Suppose you want to check the impact of a fertilizer on the yield of a crop, right? So you have taken 3 or 4 different plots and you have sown the seeds and you are using 3 different kind of fertilizers and now you want to compare. And in the comparison, suppose fertilizer A is, can we verify, can we authenticate? Yes, of course it is because of fertilizer only. Why? Yes, there are other extraneous variables are there which will have similar impact. It may be because of that. Then how it can be eliminated? It is mathematics. It is math. What is difference between correlation and regression? We will talk about. So is it clear why we need statistics? If you will not have understanding of statistics, it is not possible to conduct your research. But you do not need to become expert in the statistics. You should know that much of the statistics which is important for your discipline area. And if I go on the top of this earth and I want to see the whole gamut of research, आप देखिए क्या हो रहा है? The agriculture, defense, missile technology, rocket technology, and in medical sciences itself, we have reached to the super specialization in cancer itself, in HIV, or any kind of, in industry, in business, in social sciences. So you should be worried about your area only. Is it clear what is statistics and why it is important? 2 type of statistics, descriptive and inferential. What is descriptive? Simply, the statistics which will help you to describe a concept or a phenomena with the mathematical model, with the statistical model, if we would be able to, and I will tell you, in your objectives, among your objectives, which particular objective will be taken care by the descriptive and which one would be taken care by the inferential. What is inferential? The literal meaning itself clarifies you. What is, when you want to draw an inference, you want to draw an inference, you want to conclude something, you do not know. Nobody knows. To do that, there is inferential statistics, simply. And why I am talking this? Look towards your objectives. And look towards, if you want to describe anything. Describe means, what is status of intelligence among girls? Describe कर रहे हैं, descriptive लगेगी. Right? If you want to compare, what is difference between intelligence of boys and girls? You will go for the inferential. सीधी बात. But if you want to go for the cause and effect, again, the deeper side of your inferential. Right? Is it clear? थोड़ा सा मैं लिख के लाया था, आपके काम आए. Make conclusion Inferential, when you want to make conclusion. Hypothesis testing. I will talk about what kind of hypothesis testing. What is hypothesis? It is a presumption. It is a presumption by whom? By whom? The researcher itself. And that needs to be tested. What is meaning of that? What is, no, that is right. But what is that? Testing the hypothesis. Any example? Any example? Any example? Let me give you example. There was one doctor, Bernard Shaw, and he was conducting research on malaria. Right? And do you know what was hypothesis? Some mosquito is responsible for the spread of malaria. And he spent 1.5 years, he could not find the mosquito. And he fell ill of malaria for thrice, and the team involved in bringing the mosquitoes fall ill, and they were fed up and they declared, आपको कुछ नहीं करना वरना आपने 50 बार हमें बीमार करा दिया, next time we are not going to bring any mosquito. The last person who brought the last, वैसे भी वो last bottle होनी थी, he brought the last bottle of mosquitoes and then it was given. Do you know what was hypothesis? Some mosquito is responsible for the spread of malaria, and how it was testified? How it was testified? There were parasites in the tummy of the Anopheles female mosquito. Similar parasites which were found in the blood of a person suffering from malaria. Hypothesis testing. It was a presumption. It was not a fact. The language of hypothesis is always different. The language of finding. What should be the language? That the tense is always future tense. Will be. Will be means will be. If you are writing is, it means it is finding. So when you are writing your synopsis now, you should use for your hypothesis that there will be significant possibility of so and so. So to testify that, and how it can be testified? It can be testified with the help of inferential statistics, which will establish. And I told you, mathematics is basically for two purposes. Exactness. What he told, if extraneous variable is working, then it is not the fact. Fact is different. उसने बोला, Bernard Shaw told that this malaria is spread because it is sucking the blood for the food. But reason was something different. Later on, further studies, it was re-authenticated. It is not for the food, rather it is giving feed to the eggs in her tummy. So, testing the presumption. Inferences about an unknown population. What is that? Inferences about unknown. What is one of the definition of research is movement from the domain of known to the unknown. Movement from the domain of known to the unknown. कैसे समझेंगे इसको? How we can understand? With any example, anyone? On the basis of? Can you tell me what is your discussion? What is your discussion? Why we used to write discussion in your report? Why? Once you have brought out the findings, there is one chapter. First chapter is your introduction, then your review of literature, then objective problem and hypothesis, then your methodology, and then result and findings, and lastly you will go for discussion. Why there is this chapter of discussion?
Researcher generally compares or criticizes the earlier findings with her findings.
It is for the authentication. What he is talking is that for the authentication of whatever result and findings you have brought. These are your personal inferences. If you want to establish, he told me in the beginning that we want to learn the scientific method. What is scientific method? What is scientific method? When your findings are justified by logic and by the existing knowledge. So known to unknown. When Existing knowledge is authenticating your find. So inferential statistics helps you to draw inference on the unknown population. And what is meaning of unknown population? What is meaning of that? What is meaning of that? Unknown population. Sample. It is your sample. Your sample will be, findings of your sample will be generalized on the unknown population. उसको भी कौन करेगा? If there is much difference between your sample's finding and the population finding, it means it is not exact. So why I told you that mathematics helps you to make it exact. Exact means whatever sample findings, these should be the exact. These should be the exact. Or these should be exactly generalized on the population. Right? Again, it is inferential. I will not much talk about descriptive because your topic is related to the inferential. But some points I have brought, described already, summarization, for the purpose of summarization. Right? Then, the methods, various methods. Various methods. Okay, there are three concepts in research: data, information, and knowledge. Let us move from the back side. What is knowledge? What is knowledge?
Meaningful finding from the data is knowledge.
That is important. That is important. What is data? What is data? बताइए, आप बताइए. No, I am not talking about the type. I am talking about the data. What is data?
Raw form of knowledge.
Observations.
Yes, of course. But what is that? What is that? Of course, it is set of information. No, it is not set of information. It is not set of information. Exactly. It is fact. It is fact. Raw fact. And how it will become information? When it would be organized. When it would be organized. What is organization of data? Very, very basic organization of data. बताइए कुछ. हाँ. Table, graph, diagram. Right now? So these are the basic things which are dealing with the descriptive. Right? If you want to describe. Raw data. How many people, if someone is going out and declaring, there are 15 people inside this room. Right? And out of that, 7 are boys and 8 are girls. We have started inserting meaning in that. When data will become meaningful, it will become information. When information will get the feature of utility, knowledge. And which knowledge is considered as the outcome of research? The knowledge which was not existing prior to that. That will become the outcome of your research. Any knowledge if you are bringing which is already existing, आप जाइए libraries को देखिए, you will find n number of cases lying there, and majority of them they are bringing no new knowledge. So why I asked and emphasized on him when he was saying that I am sitting here to learn for the sake of conducting the research. The research. Right? So descriptive. थोड़ा सा मैंने आइडिया दिया. Distribution, central tendency and variability. You understand? Distribution, all your graphical and all that. Central tendency, what is central tendency? Mean, mode, median. What is that? What is central? Literary meaning है उसका बिल्कुल. Central tendency. What is that?
On an average, क्या उसका
Outliers are not there. It is on the center. Outliers are not there. Central tendency. Now, what is variability? What is variability? क्या जरूरत है? क्यों? सिंपलेस्ट मेथड क्या है आपका वेरिएबिलिटी टेस्ट करने का? सिंपलेस्ट रेंज. व्हाट आइडिया रेंज गिव्स? अगर आपका सैंपल 50 का ही है, आपको किसका एसपीएसएस चाहिए? चाहिए क्या आपको? और मैक्सिमम रिसर्च में मोर देन 100 का सैंपल नहीं होता, मैक्सिमम में. मुझे अभी दीजिए आप 100 का, मैं उंगलियों पर आपको उसका मीन बता दूंगा, उसकी मीडियन बता दूंगा, और उसका मॉड तो क्लियर होता ही. Right? Variability. Why we need to check the variability? If mean is 60, and the minimum score was 10 and maximum score was 90. If mean is 60 and minimum score was 50 and maximum score was 90. What is difference? What is meaning of that? Consistency. What is consistency? There is consistency in the group. The first group is not a consistent group. Very low level to very high level. So central tendency is not justifying. We need to test the variability also. How your sample is varying. Example बताइए कैसी vary करेंगे? Suppose you are conducting a research on women and their education, and you have taken a sample of slum area, very highly backward rural area, and then you have taken sample from the towns as well as then from cities, mega cities and all that. Will the elements of sample would be same? Why? जो उन्होंने बोला, extraneous factors. What kind of extraneous factors? राहुल गांधी जहां पैदा हुआ है ना, वहां बहुत सारी चीजें पहले से ही हैं, और हम जहां से आए हैं ना, वहां बहुत सारी चीजें नहीं थी. So how we have developed and how he has developed, there is lot of difference in that. The person who is in the slum area and the person who is in a highly developed society, lot many factors are already supporting, and it is not only in that kind. Among other samples also, there is variability. So to eliminate that variability, or to take stock of that variability and then predicting and then finding the results. Otherwise, there will be impact and your findings will be wrong. Right? So, descriptive and then inferential. Meaning of the collected data. It will make your data meaningful, and it will enhance the utility. How it can enhance the utility? फाइजर की वैक्सीन देखी है आपने? सारा डाटा का खेल था, लोग मरवा दिए. उसकी जान खाई है अभी उसने मीडिया ने. ये एक्चुअली तो बता दो कितना % है. And they have reached to the 30%. And as a result of that, the impact of second wave was so heavy in Europe because they were dependent on the Pfizer. They were dependent on the Pfizer. It is just what I told you, how the data has been analyzed and what meaning was added to it. 30% निकला अभी latest. Pfizer has been declared 30 only. It is effective 30. In case of second one, on the first it was declared that 90%. But further studies express no, it is not 90%. It might be lesser. So we should go for the second dose. And then again studies were continued. And studies shown that no, it is less than that. We should go for a booster dose. And because of that, the Indian continent and some of the countries could save its population. एक सिर्फ statistics का खेल था. what conclusion was drawn, what inference was taken. Right? Then inferential statistics use the probability principle. What is probability principle? What is inference again? Chances हैं कितने? And why we need mathematics? To enhance those chances. To make this, there is one principle of this world, that is uncertainty. When I started from my place, it was uncertain whether I will reach there or not. Right now? Everything is uncertain. But how this world can function? When we will make it certain. Right now? If we will not make it certain, Professor Khan invited me, I gave my consent, and on the basis of that consent, he took presumption that Dr. Rishipal will come. Right now? And then I came. Only then it could made certain, and as a result of that certainty, this program is going on. And this is not only in this case, everywhere. The particular rocket which is taking the satellite is, will move on a trajectory, and that trajectory is finalized statistically. If by the way that trajectory changes a slight distance, what will happen? In place of moon, it will reach to the Mars. Right? Last one, inferential statistics intended to test hypothesis and investigate relationships. रिसर्च करना अंधे कुएं में छलांग लगाना जैसा है, बिल्कुल सीधी सीधी बात. But with the exactness. वही बोल रहा है. Hypothesis means it is your presumption. And presumption, what he told, 50-50% chances. And sometimes even it is not 50% chance may be lesser. Right? Three part: hypothesis testing, confidence interval, and regression analysis. You need to understand all this or not? Reason being, it is not possible among scientific and social sciences research to conduct any research without hypothesis. If you talk to me, for me, it is not possible to conduct any research without hypothesis. Why? Why? What is basic objective of keeping hypothesis? What is basic objective? Ultimate basic objective of keeping hypothesis. Why we should have hypothesis? Some of the researches you will not find hypothesis. Even then, by default there is hypothesis. You take example of even literature. Even in the literature, without hypothesis, it is not possible to conduct the research. Why? Exactly. Without hypothesis, if Bernard Shaw would have not be having this hypothesis that some mosquito is responsible, what he had been doing? He had been in the directionlessness state. So hypothesis gives you the direction. And what we do in the hypothesis testing, what we do? Bataiye. Simple sa. Whether our direction is right or wrong. If it is wrong, it is alternative. एक और भी concept आता है, serendipity. आपका hypothesis ही side में चला गया, कुछ और ही मिल गया आपको. Example, who invented rubber? Specifically the rubber which can be used for manufacturing tires and all song, and I forget, I think Mayfair or something. I forget the name of scientist, please excuse me. So he was working for that, and he has not been having any lab, so he will do it in the house. And his wife was very, very aggressive. She will shout, "What bloody nuisance you are doing? Daily you are creating soap." Because if you are doing something with rubber and heating it and doing that, it will create a lot of bad smell, a kind of nuisance. So she will shout. So one day she declared that I'm going to my mother's house for 10 days. So he was very happy. I have got 10 days and I will complete my experiment. So she went, and on that day itself, जैसे ही वो गई, he started the experiment. And he was doing that experiment in kitchen. Right? By the way, there was knock on the door, and he peeped outside. Wife was standing there. He rushed to the kitchen. He thrown everything in the junk bin, or sorry, in that sink where we keep our used utensils. So he thrown all that in that and flushed the water, and he switched on the exhaust fan so that the foul smell can go out. And then he rushed to the door and opened the door, and she shouted, "Why you are taking this much of the time? I'm standing for the 2 or 3 minutes and you are not opening the door. What nuisance you are doing?" And then she started smelling. "Oh, you might be doing the same nuisance. It is smelling very badly." And she rushed to the kitchen, but everything was cleaned up. When she settled down, he went to the kitchen and checked, and he found that rubber has hardened. Some chemical or some salt in the kitchen, which was already there in some utensil. That, why I have taken this example? Yeah, hypothesis testing ने काम नहीं किया, serendipity होगी. Hypothesis means whether your direction. And what is your, most of the time, what direction we take? What direction we take? Null hypothesis. कि ऐसा नहीं होगा. अगर हो गया, then your alternative is established. Right? So hypothesis testing. But how it can be tested? Again, exactness, factual. And it is not exactness and factual. It should bring a usable knowledge. Usable knowledge means, you might have seen the state of mind of scientists, those who are just ready to inject a rocket in the space. Bowel syndrome हुआ होता है उस टाइम उनको. Actually, and more severe than a pilot who is flying either in front of the enemy's plane or in the back side of enemies. ये हम जो है ना इसको थोड़ा सोच ही सकते हैं, फील नहीं कर सकते. Reason being, the speed of that plane is 2100 km per hour, which is more than the speed of sound. And yes, both of these planes have got technology. If, by the way, enemy's pilot will fix on the screen of radar of the plane and will push a button, one missile will come out, and that missile is infrared sensitive missile. And that missile will follow the plane, and it will come back, it will destroy itself after destroying the plane of the enemy. And how it is possible? Exactly. And how it could become possible? After testing the hypothesis n number of times. N number of times. Right? The next is confidence interval and regression analysis. We will talk one by one. Hypothesis testing. Already I have explained. Then, some of the tests with which hypothesis can be tested, right? I think you might be having knowledge of all these tests. Coming to the confidence interval. What is confidence interval? And this confidence interval is basically responsible for, it is responsible for what? Exactness. It is responsible. What is confidence interval?
कि हम इतने % श्योर हैं कि ये चीज होगी.
We define the range.
इसकी श्योरिटी इतनी है.
हम उसकी रिसर्च की भाषा में बात करें. डिपेंडेंट एंड इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल. राइट? व्हाट इज मीनिंग ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस इंटरवल? इसको कोई भी खड़ा हो और एक बार पढ़ो, कोई भी, anyone, read it out.
सर ऐसा है कि 7 हम लोग जैसे कोई काम करते हैं तो बोलते हैं कि 70 से 80% में कॉन्फिडेंट होंगे दिस गॉड ये 70
किस पे कॉन्फिडेंस है? सिर्फ कहने से थोड़ी चलेगा.
आपने सेट किया है उस पर मैं
Can anyone read a bit slowly? Anyone? And let us try to understand. And this needs to be understood. This needs to be. If you will understand that, na, then everywhere or whenever you are using the p value, what is meaning of that p value? What is that? करिए कोई भी. Anyone?
A confidence interval in statistics refers to the probability that
Very first, ये स्लाइड सब दे के जाऊंगा मैं आप लोगों को. Need not to take any photograph. These slides are for you only. So it refers to the probability, chance. Yes, that a
population parameter will fall between a set of values for a certain proportion of times.
for a certain proportion of times. ये researcher नहीं बोल रहा है. What he was talking and why? It is not the researcher's confidence. It is confidence of the findings or data. It is confidence of the data. It is not. If I declare any, there are three realities in this world. There are three realities. The first reality is the personal reality. Second reality is the social reality. And third reality is the concrete or absolute reality. Now what is personality? आशाराम ने घोषणा की कि मैं भगवान हूं इस दुनिया का, जेल में बैठा है. This is personality. I can declare anything about me. I can declare anything. Social reality, if I go to Pakistan and ask to the Pakistanis whether Kashmir is part of India or Pakistan, what they will say? What they will say? Pakistan, Kashmir is part of Pakistan. If I come back to India and ask to the Indians then whether Kashmir is part of India or Pakistan, this is social reality. But if I ask a Pakistani what is capital of India, what they will say? This is concrete reality, absolute reality, right? So, in the population parameter, do you understand what is population parameter? What is population? What is population? What is population? Entire universe of what? Is it research area? You cannot use the same word while defining or explaining a particular concept. You cannot use the same word. So I want to understand population. What is population? What is that whole segment? Well, what we will call it? Target. There are two words which can be used. Target subjects and target objects. Where we will use the subject? Munna bhai MBBS mein. When it is living being, it is subject. When it is non-living being, it is object. So, the whole lot of subjects or objects taken into research is population. Right? Right? Population. Now what is parameter? What is parameter? What is parameter? What is parameter? Is a factor, or in research we call it variable. Is it or not? Is it or not? So the population parameter, I want to study the education level among women. Among women. What is my population? Women is my population. And parameter? Education is the parameter. Clear? So, probability that a population parameter will fall between a set of values. A set of values. What do you mean by set of values? when number of times research has been conducted and every time a certain proportion of times, कम से कम इतनी बार तो आना ही आना चाहिए, नहीं तो it is not justified, it is not fact, it is not exact. Clear? What is confidence interval? If that is not, and what is that range? That range is this range. Is it clear? Good.
All you are very good scholars. You can go through it.
Now the p-value. मेरे ख्याल से अब आपको क्लियर हो गया होगा, राइट ना? Going to the next. I have straightway taken 3 parts थे ना. Number 1, hypothesis testing, I have explained. Confidence level, I have explained. Now coming to the regression analysis, right? And I have given the types also. What is regression? Can you understand regression without correlation? Can we understand? What is correlation? बताइए. मैंने इनसे पूछा था. मुझे इनको लगा कि ये पता नहीं यहाँ प्रेजेंट भी हैं या नहीं. And this is my duty. Example. The degree of interactions among boyfriend and girlfriend and the attentivity in the class. Right now? Right now? Stronger the relationship, stronger the association, lesser the attentivity. बड़ी रंगीन दुनिया लगती है, बाद में पता लगता है कहाँ पहुंच गए, right? चलिए, that was just a joke to bring all you back in the classroom, right? Regression analysis is used to quantify how one variable will change with respect to another. One factor. What is difference between parameter, factor and variable? And a researcher need to understand that. Parameter may be anything. What is concept? What is concept? Let us start from the concept. What is concept? What is phenomena? Most of the time research is conducted either by taking a concept into consideration or a phenomena. Suppose you want to understand the phenomena of photosynthesis. You want to understand the phenomena of dowry. If you want to understand the phenomena of committing rape and murder, it is a phenomena, it is a social phenomena, it is a psychological phenomena. You need to conduct research on that. Right? So, first is a concept or a phenomena. The concept of phenomena which can be measured for the sake of research is a parameter, and that will known as factor. Once that factor is taken into the research, will become variable. A factor is a variable. If you want to write a newspaper article, you will use it as a factor, but if you have taken that into the research, it will become a variable. What is variable? What is variable? Anything which varies. But here, it is not the variable is varying. It is not the variable which is varying. Its relationship is changing. Or the degree of relation, rather. If the researcher is deliberately changing the independent variable, what would be impact on the dependent variable? That relationship, what we will call it? Correlation. We will call it correlation. The rate of crime goes very high in summer season in Delhi, and the sale of ice cream goes very high in the season of summer in Delhi. There is a correlation. But is it cause and effect relationship or not? How we can test that? With the regression. This is difference between correlation and regression. There may be, किसी भी चीज से. Yes. But difference between? Yes. Construct वैसे आपको जो standard वो पढ़ाएंगे ना? Development of standard, development of tools. What is construct? What is literal meaning? Literal meaning से ही जाएगा. What is construct? Component of something. Component of something. Construct is component of something. What does it mean? What does it mean? Suppose you want to test the leadership. Right? What are components of leadership? Suppose you want to test the intelligence. What are components of intelligence? बताइए. गर्दन हिला के नहीं, बताइए. मैंने बोला था कि दोनों तरफ से. What are component of intelligence? If you want to measure the whole spectrum of, there is a spectrum of intelligence, na? No. These are different factors. I am talking about intelligence only. What are different component of intelligence? If you want to measure the intelligence of a person, what you will measure? वो क्वेश्चन था उसका. Your discipline area is education. तो फिर तो आपको पढ़ना पड़ेगा. If you want to declare someone intelligent, then what parameters you will measure? Numerical ability, reasoning, general knowledge, general awareness, communication, language, spatial understanding. Is it? These are the constructs. These are the constructs. You know why there is concept of reliability and validity in social sciences or qualitative research? Why there is concept of reliability and validity? If you want to measure the length, your meter is 100% reliable and valid. Is it or not? It is 100% reliable and valid. There may be error. There may be error. And that error can be marked. Suppose you want to measure the voltage. So on the voltmeter, you will find at the back that this voltmeter has got -2, +2 or +-2 error. And by including that error part, you can exactly measure that particular physical dimension, right now? But in case of the social characteristics and traits, it is not possible to measure it exactly. Reason being, it is not possible to find out all the constructs. Second, these are very dynamic in nature. All these constructs are very dynamic in nature. When you have just got up after sleeping and I am going for your intelligence test, it would be affected. If emotionally you are very suppressed and I am conducting your intelligence test, if you had been busy somewhere else and I am conducting your intelligence test, in case of measurement of the length, whatever is your mental state, that would not be affected. So human characteristic and traits and features, they are very dynamic in the nature. If I want to test honesty, you have everything, you can behave like an honest person. But you take example of a child who has not been given food for the last 2 days and very lucky food is there, and the child has no money and no one to take food, then the possibility of honesty will, and it is because of dynamism in the environment. So it is because of dynamic nature. You asked the question, is it clear what is construct in the leadership? in innovativeness, in creativity, what are the constructs? And variable, already I clarified. Is it clear? So regression is simple, multiple, nominal, ordinal. There are 4 different kind of scales. What are those? बताओ, आप बताओ बीच में बैठे हैं. हाँ. What are 4 different kind of scales? Very good. Ratio. What is difference? Yes.
First two, nominal and ordinal, measure qualitative and interval and quantitative.
तो बाद में बात आई. That is their use. What is nominal? Go literally, it is just for the sake of name, for the and why we have name? Why? Your good name? Exactly, to identify the jersey number, the roll number. Nominal. Second is, what is ordinal? When numbers are arranged ascending or descending, there is an order. Interval, when this order, complete order is equally distributed among number of intervals. And the ratio, when it is starting from absolute 0. Clear? So your regression will be applicable. Clear? Right. Now, I want to explain this also, parametric and non-parametric. What is parametric? What is parametric? Hmm? Hmm. What is meaning of that normal distribution? In which cases we will get the normal distribution? Can we get the normal distribution? Can we get the normal distribution? यहीं पर आपको क्लियर हो जाएगा कि लीनियर यूज होगा या नॉन लीनियर. Can we bring the normal distribution? If you want to bring the normal distribution, what you need? Assumptions. Assumptions. If anything is dependent on assumptions, is it possible to actualize all the assumptions? In reality, linear is never possible. It's never possible. Non-linear is always possible. Always. और non-linear भी क्या कर रहे हैं हम? Mathematical model से fit बिठा रहे हैं उसको. Is it or not? Is it? As much as exact we can fit the mathematical model, that level of exactness will come out. And that level of exactness in finding will come out. And for that, I told you in the beginning itself, so why I took the very first slide, statistics. And it is not only nowadays, statistics is not dependent on the statistical model only. Different other mathematical models have entered into the calculus, the matrix, determinants, and other models, exponential and other models. They have entered. And why they have entered? वहाँ तो graph मिलेगा आपको. And it is not even the graph, the dots, many dots. When you will take the data and you will draw a graph, in the graph what you will do? You will put the points. And there is a cloud of point. That cloud of point may be organized in the linear format, in the curvature format, in the jigsaw or anything. So if it is linear, suppose all the dots, all the cloud of the dots is in this form, it may be linear. It may be linear. Depending upon the square root of their distances from the central line. Linear हो गया. Clear? And if what she told us, that if the distribution is normal, what is condition of normal distribution? Major, very first condition of normal distribution. All these, is it possible? Data आपकी मर्जी से थोड़ी. Data is not your choice. और यही गड़बड़ करते हैं इंडियंस रिसर्च करने में. Data को मैनिपुलेट कर लेते हैं. Do not do that. Otherwise, findings will not be exact. Let them be exact. If by the way your hypothesis not established, alternative will establish. कुछ और you have invented, कम से कम आपने ये कह दिया कि ये नहीं है, उसमें रिसर्च नहीं करेंगे फिर लोग, right ना? So parametric, non-parametric, then rest everything. Clear? Rest everything. Difference भी दिया है मैंने, आप read out कर लेना. Let us not waste the time. At what time I have to close this session? 11:30. Okay. Difference I have given. Now, selection. Quickly we will go. How you will finalize your statistical, which statistical technique? If I write the research methodology, what you will include in that? If I want to write research methodology for a particular research, what elements you will include? बताओ, आप बताओ. Yes. Sampling technique, method of data collection, statistical techniques, sampling technique. Source of data is sampling technique. वो data analysis में बात करेंगे. Only these 4 or 5 things we need. Number 1 is the research design. Number 2 is sampling technique. It will include your type of data, type of subject, your size of sample as well as population. Your sampling technique will include all these 3. And then is method of data collection, right? And with that methodology we will conduct the research, right? If I want to decide the statistics, what is basic thing in your research which will support you to finalize your statistical techniques? What is basic there? Data किससे आएगा? Data से पहले भी तो कुछ होगा ना? Exactly, it is your objective. What is type of your research, nature of your research, and volume of your research will also affect. If you have to handle a lot of data, then statistical technique will change. What is nature? Certainly you have to come exact in case of deciding which vaccine, because you cannot play with the life of people. Do you know there is registration of doctors? Why there is registration of the doctors? आदमी मार दिया तो भाग ना जाए कहीं, इसका एड्रेस हमारे रजिस्टर में लिखा हुआ होना, इतनी बात है रजिस्ट्रेशन, उससे ज्यादा नहीं है कुछ भी. अब साइकोलॉजिस्ट बैठे हैं यहाँ पे, आपकी भी होने लगी है, किसी को ऐसे ही बातें मार के और उसका. The case happened in Chennai. One person was taking counseling, this is for the psychologist, please take care. One person was taking counseling and things were going very well. And the third set of counseling, when he went to the counselor, he came out depressed and he was accompanied by the wife. He went back to home and committed suicide. The wife registered a case against this counselor that something wrong happened in the counselor's room, and after coming out of the room he was depressed, and when he reached home he committed suicide. So that case went to the court, and then where is your registration? Are you registered practitioner? No sir, I am not. Then first you are imprisoned for 6 months, go to the jail, stay there for 6 months, and then we will start the case against you. Why it is so? You are dealing with the human beings. Your findings should be exact. You cannot play with the life of people. In that kind of research, what type of statistics you have to establish? Yes, my findings are exact, and this cannot be proved with your statement. That needs to be proved by the mathematical models as well as with the logic and knowledge existing already, right? So objective of the study, even hypothesis will give some direction what kind of statistical tool or technique you should use, and yes, your study design also, your study, if you want to go for Basically, I take only 3 type of designs. That is experimental, non-experimental, and sometimes I take quasi also. Quasi is part of experimental itself, or it can be taken. Basically, it is non-experimental. What are characteristic of experimental design? 4 major necessary conditions for experimental. In which 4 conditions you can go for experimental? What are those? There should be such independent variable so that researcher has freedom to manipulate it. Number 1. Number 2, randomized sampling. What is randomized sampling? Simply, equal chance to whom? Equal chance to all the element of population to become part of sample. Randomized. Third one is there should be treatment. Strategy, intervention. These 3 words in social sciences we can use all these 3 words. Some strategy. And strategy, treatment and intervention for what? Remedial. नहीं जाना चाहिए theoretical researches. We should come remedial. Your research should bring something remedy to the, right? So your study design, then type and number of variables. Yes, of course. If you have to use regression, this multiple regression, when you will use? When your variables are number of variables. You want to study the impact of one independent variable on number of dependent variables, right? Then type and distribution of data. How your data is distribution. What she was talking, that whether it is normal distribution or not normal distribution. If it is normal distribution, you will go for parametric statistics, and if you will go for parametric, then there are certain limitations in that, right? So similarly, some more points. Yeah, आप पढ़ लेना. Yes. Correlation and regression. Is it clear now? What is difference? इसीलिए तो उसको क्वेसी कहते हैं. नहीं तो वो एक्सपेरिमेंटल नहीं है. क्वेसी में you can compromise with any of the condition. You have freedom to, or with all the conditions. You are determined that I will go by the experimental, whether the conditions are favoring me or not. Simple बता दिया है मैंने. वो कैसी हो जाएगा? Your conditions are not allowing you. कैसे? How randomization is not possible? कई बार तो आपको population का ही नहीं पता होता. Suppose you want to conduct a research on lesbian, gays, HIV infected people. You do not know where is population. इसीलिए snowball है आपका. वो मॉडल उसी लिए है. Right? Clear? Correlation, regression. मैंने डिफरेंस दिया है. फिर टाइप्स ऑफ रिग्रेशन सबको पता है, राइट? व्हेन, यहीं पे व्हेन वी विल यूज द लीनियर. मैं एक बार एजम्पशंस पे जाऊं पहले, जिससे कि आपको और ज्यादा क्लियर हो. एजम्पशंस में लेके आया हूं क्या? आई फॉरगेट टू ब्रिंग. यस, I will give these slides to everyone. I will share these slides with Khan Saab, and he will share it with. मैं उनको दे दूँगा. Your good name, बेटा? Yes, I will give him, and you can use them. Linear regression analysis is based on 6 fundamental assumptions. What is very first? The dependent and independent variables show a linear relationship. मुझे नहीं आज तक कोई भी दुनिया में डिपेंडेंट और इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल मिले जिसमें सीधी लीनियर रिलेशन. मुझे नहीं मिला कोई भी. एंड आई एम इन्वॉल्व इन रिसर्च फॉर द लास्ट 20 years. मैंने क्या बोला? इट इज योर मैथमेटिकल मॉडल. इट इज नॉट योर डाटा. It is your mathematical model which will decide whether it can be fitted to your given data or not, or how exactly, which mathematical model will exactly interpret the given data, right? So, the possibility of this second, the independent variable is not random. If it is not random, what does it mean? You have not taken the exact replica of your population. Then how we can ensure the finding? Next, the value of residual error is 0. These all assumptions are very difficult to observe on any set of data. But even then, among certain data sets, there is possibility that yes, linear pattern can be taken, excluding the उनको क्या बोलते हैं, the distant outliers. If we exclude them, then the linear can be used. And I do not say that linear cannot be used specifically among medical sciences and industry, in business, even in the business. If I talk about business, then nowadays business studies are becoming more and more scientific. And as a result of that, you go to industry and corporate, you see how things are working there. They ensure the certainty. They ensure the exactness. And these assurance and insurance of certainty and exactness can ensure them that yes, order will reach on the right time. And for that, various kind of mathematical, starting from your linear to non-linear, all these are used. Linear का मैं लेके आया था, मुझे नहीं लगता कि बहुत ज़्यादा उसकी ज़रूरत था, आप लोग इसको. Now coming to the non-linear. मैं हिंदी में समझा रहा हूँ आपको सबको. लीनियर का कतई मतलब ये नहीं है कि जो आपने ग्राफ ड्रॉ किया उसमें सारी के सारे लाइन पे आ गए. There was a tendency. There was a tendency of the data. Tendency is linear. Right? What are three basic components of correlation? Number one is the tendency. What is that tendency? Negative and positive. What is negative? Negative is not really negative. It is inversely proportional. What is inversely proportional? There is opposite relationship. There is opposite relationship. What I told you, as much as the association will increase between the boyfriend and girlfriend, then the tendency of attention in the class will decrease down. This is inverse. And positive is directly. There is increase, simultaneous, there will be increase in that. Right? So, your data, if it is showing the tendency, if tendency is different than linear, then all sets of data will be handled with the non-linear regression. मैं आपको यही पढ़ाने आया था कि आप ये समझें कि आपका जो डाटा आया है उसमें कौन सा मैथमेटिकल मॉडल लगेगा. एक बार आपको पता लग गया कि ये मैथमेटिकल मॉडल है, SPSS वालों के पास चले जाओ और बनवा लो उसको. कोई नहीं मना करता, उससे पूछ के आ जाओ. If you are not expert in the SPS, I told you, if your sample size is very, suppose someone is conducting a research in medical sciences, then sample size of 30 is more than enough. More than enough. And for that, I think hardly you need any kind of statistical, digital tool. You can do it manually, right? So non-linear, then situation where it works. Do not behave simple when your data is not, and it is not your research, when your data is not behaving simple, predictable, way like a straight line. In that case, you will go for non-linear. Simply. perfect curve. Representation of your data will not give the curve. The mathematical model which will help to fit into it, whichever mathematical model or statistical model will fit into it, that best fit will give you the exact finding. Right? कौन से होंगे वो आगे बात करेंगे अभी. एक मिनट. These are three. These are three models. Right? But presentation of your data will decide that. Right? I will go back. You need to understand specifically this. Common method include least squares. What does it mean? What does it mean? If you will understand that, you will understand which method should be or which model should be used. Least square. Again, you have plotted the data, right? Now you want to check whether linear model, non-linear model. In the non-linear model, which particular type, that will depend upon the least square. Means in the linear, what we do in the linear, how we fit the linear, how we do that? Where we draw the line? Where we draw the line? I have drawn the graph. बोर्ड होना चाहिए था यहाँ पे और मार्कर होना चाहिए था.
Tendency of data is more.
मैथमेटिकली बताओ भाई, सीधा सीधा क्लियर. नहीं, वो तो हमने ड्रॉ कर लिया. And we have put up all the data set, and that data set is available in the form of dots. Dots are there on the board. So how we can draw the line? Is it most concentrated or it is the central line? It is the central line around. And the distance of the dots should be minimum to the line. Distance of that distance is the least squares. उनके डिस्टेंस का स्क्वायर कर लेंगे. क्यों कर लेंगे? एरर कम हो जाएगा और नेगेटिव पॉजिटिव का झगड़ा खत्म हो जाएगा. स्क्वायर करने से क्या हो जाएगा? एक न्यूट्रल, पॉजिटिव नहीं कहेंगे, न्यूट्रल वैल्यू आ जाएगी. That can happen in the case of linear as well as in the curvature, in the zigzag, or whatever it is. Whatever it is. If your set of dots are scattered like this, then of course it will be zigzag. If your set of dots are plotted like this, if your set of dots are plotted like this, and what will decide? The least square will decide which model you will use. That was one of the major objective of my today's this lecture. अब इसमें दोनों आप यूज कर सकते हैं डिपेंडिंग अपॉन when I told you that what factors will decide which model you should use. In that I told you that one of the basic factor is the volume of data. So depending upon that, you will decide which particular model you will use for this non-linear model, right? R and R squared. What is that? R and R squared. R and R squared. Least square is R squared, and normally if you are finding the average of all the distance of different dots. That is your R. Right? ये तीन मेथड हैं उसके, न्यूटन्स मेथड, न्यूटन एंड लेवनबर्ग. These three methods, and these are algorithm methods, and with the help of your digital tools you can find out your R and R square, R and R square. With the help of these tools will help. Actually for giving understanding about these tools you need the lab practice, and I think for that you need at least 1 week workshop so that you can understand the working of that particular digital tool. लेकिन मुझे जो social sciences में those who are interested for their PhD, specifically them, they do not need much, but if they have to become teachers, specifically teacher of research methodology, then in that case they must understand, right? Basic objective has been attained. इसका advantage disadvantage you can go through, and this is all from my side, specifically related to the first session. If there is any question, any doubt, any suggestion, any correction even, because I am also student, I am teaching research methodology for the last 20 years, but I cannot claim that I am master of research method. Research is a very vast subject. Only 25% I could understand about research, but out of that, suppose if there is any correction from your side, you are welcome. So anything you want to ask, anything. It may be relevant to your personal research, even if you are scholar, you are PhD. Yes, I think you want to ask something.
जैसे कि हम लोग जब डाटा नॉर्मल हो तो हम लोग पैरामीट्रिक यूज करते हैं, जब डाटा नॉर्मल ना हो तब नॉन पैरामीट्रिक यूज करते हैं, तो जब पता ना हो कि नॉर्मल हो नॉन नॉर्मल हो तब भी हम लोग नॉन पैरामीट्रिक यूज करते हैं. लेकिन ऐसा हो कि मुझे पता नहीं,
आपको एक बात ही बोल दी,
मेरा क्वेश्चन
usually you will never find a normal distribution. होगा ही नहीं, मिलेगा ही नहीं. So non-parametric, but the exactness of finding is better among the parametric. Reason be why? Why? Why it is so? Exactly the kind of statistics we are using, that brings the more exact findings. इसीलिए किस लिए? Even we know very well that we cannot use the experimental. What we are doing? We are going for the quasi-experimental. Reason is what he told. Right? Yes.
जैसे आप कह रहे हैं कि नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नहीं होता है, बट एक्चुअली कहती हैं कि जब रिस्पोंडेंट्स के पास हम सर्वे लेके जाते हैं तो अगर सर्वे प्रॉपरली एडमिनिस्ट्रेट नहीं हुआ हो तो कहते हैं कि नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन तभी पॉसिबल.
वो बिल्कुल आउटलायर्स होते हैं, मैक्सिमम आउटलायर्स. कैसे करेंगे? There are two concepts in research. The first one is questionnaire. Second one is schedule. What is the difference between questionnaire and schedule? You can distribute, you go out, whatever responses you are recording, I will take. In the case of schedule, you will sit before the subject, you will record. And in the case of schedule, it is not only the questionnaire. Sometimes there is need to record your emotional and other characteristics also. The polygraphic test. In polygraphic test, 3 different things are working simultaneously. Your questionnaire, designed in the form of schedule, your body condition, as well as your emotional body language also. All these 3 are recorded, and on the basis of that, a scientific conclusion, inference is drawn, whether the person has committed the murder or rape or not. Right? Any other question? Yes.
So I am conducting research on consumer behavior. I want to do what are those factors which manipulate the buying behavior of athletes.
ऑब्जेक्टिव अभी तो बताया ना, ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या बनाए?
Sir, objective is like the
सीधी सी बात है, मैंने अभी तो बोला, इफ यू वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड एनी फिनोमेना और यू वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड एनी कॉन्सेप्ट, you want to understand any characteristic, you want to measure any characteristic, you will go for the descriptive. If you want to find out the relationship, if you want to compare anything, then in that case you will go for inferential. In the inferential, आपका T test, Z test, F test, and your correlation, your regression, all these things. Simple सा है. अब आप क्या टेस्ट कर रहे हैं?
sir, जैसे if there are multiple variables are there,
Hmm.
like quality affects the buying behavior.
Hmm.
Uh,
नहीं, what you want to measure, it will depend upon data which is outcome of your measurement. What you will measure.
तो मैं ये मेजर करना चाहता हूँ कि जो मल्टीपल वेरिएबल्स हैं
Hmm.
वो कितना कौन-कौन से वेरिएबल कितनी कितनी क्वांटिटी में इफेक्ट कर रहा है का बिहेवियर की वो किसी चीज को खरीदे.
Then of course you will go for the inferential. And in the inferential, best tool is the regression. Best tool is the regression. लेकिन मैं आपके ऑब्जेक्टिव बिना देखे बोल रहा हूँ, consult with your guide and only then you decide. I have not gone through your objectives. कभी यहाँ से निश्चिंत होकर के चले जाओ और गलत बना के थीसिस और प्रॉब्लम खड़ी हो जाए. हाँ.
जैसे आपने बताया कि लाइक मतलब एनपीसी जो डेटा हम नहीं प्राप्त कर सकते लेकिन इंटेलिजेंस में मेजर करना या क्रिएटिविटी मेजर करना है लेकिन फिर क्यों हम अज्यूम कर लेते हैं कि
बहुत अच्छा सवाल इन्होंने.
और सर हम
There are certain measures by using which even experimental भी use नहीं कर सकते.
जैसे मतलब ये
Core experiment, it is very difficult to use.
सर मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ कि लाइक जैसे हमारा डेटा कम होता है तो वो तो नहीं वो रिप्रेजेंट करता है एनपीसी को लेकिन जैसे जैसे डेटा बढ़ाते जाते हैं वो शेप लेता जाता है
हम्म,
फिर शेप का
हम्म.
तो ऐसा ही कुछ
नहीं, compulsory नहीं है. That bell may be having the right-handed tail or the left-handed tail or even its amplitude, peak and all. There are certain measures. आप सुनिए एक बार, अपने क्वेश्चन को शांत करके, you listen to me. I condemned number of things, but that doesn't mean that we cannot use those idealistic models. There are certain measures while conducting your research that will start from selecting your sample, designing your tool for collection of data, and yes, there are certain statistical tools also which will eliminate or which will help you to go for experimental to really bring that kind of data which would be able to normally distribute. So there are certain statistical measures. So take those measures and then you can go for even linear and non-linear, parametric, non-parametric or whatever it is. So I am not saying that you cannot use them. And one more thing I told you that if it is experimental, if it is really your normal distribution of data, you could bring your data in such a way so that it is normally distributed, then your finding will be exact. The exactness of finding is always towards that side, not towards the non-linear side, right? Non-parametric side, right? तो वो उसके लिए फिर एक और पूरा लेक्चर चाहिए. वो स्टैटिस्टिकल टेक्निक नहीं, मेजर्स यूज किया ना. देयर आर नंबर ऑफ मेजर्स व्हाइल डिजाइनिंग, इवन डिजाइनिंग योर टूल. देयर आर नंबर ऑफ, starting from your problem identification itself, and then whatever various steps. Everywhere you have to be cautious and conscious, and your research should, your complete gamut of your research should be there in your mind. And so why you are asked to submit your synopsis. पहले ही बता दो भाई. By the way, synopsis is not correct. It means you are on the wrong track. You have taken wrong research design. Your scale itself is wrongly standardized. Yes.
Sir, it was a very insightful session. Sir, my question, not question, sir, I have like a quick query. Sir, does the inferential statistic we can use only the purpose to fulfill the like comparison purpose only?
No, it is not. For drawing any kind of conclusion, inference. And basically this inferential statistics is to enhance the exactness of your inference or your conclusion. It is for that. It may be for, not only for comparison, for any other purpose also. Right? Any other question? चलिए ठीक है. Thank you.